Everybody get in here. Everybody's talking about it, so I'm gonna talk about it as well. Talk about Kelly Rowland and her standards. Okay, this is for freelance beauty professionals. I'm Latoya.Deshaun. I pretty much am the go-to girl to help you secure high-profile clients in your beauty business. Okay. Welcome. I don't want to be here too long, but I just want to talk about it. It's been all over the web in terms of what Kelly Rowland leaving the set of the Today Show, I believe the third hour, and like everyone going in a frenzy because like this happened, and you know their thoughts like on like whose fault and all of that. You know how social media be social media. But I want to really get on here and give my point of view on what I think about that and how it relates to how I help freelance beauty professionals. Okay. Just a recap on Kelly Rowland's situation is basically she's promoting a movie right now. So she's all over media being interviewed. And so she went on the Today Show and she was looking, she expected a certain kind of room. And when she got there, they offered her another room. I guess that room wasn't available. And so she did not like the conditions. I want to note that she did try to work with them to get another room, but the conditions were not up to her standards. And so because they were not, she decided to just leave the set. She wasn't going to stay. And so this threw social media in a huge frenzy because like this is not really, we haven't heard of Kelly Rowland in the news in the 25 plus years that she's been in the entertainment industry. But for sure, we have not seen her take a stand in terms of how she wants to be treated in a public way. And so you have people all over talking about, oh, I don't believe, you know, like if Kelly left out that, then it was for a reason. She's unproblematic and all of that. And so, you know, I want to first say I'm Team Kelly. That being in this industry, I can kind of guesstimate as to what was going on in her mind internally and just how she was communicating herself to be able to add some insight to this situation. Because even though she is a celebrity, and yes, I do work with celebrities, high profile people, even as the crew, as her makeup people, her glam squad, her publicist, her manager, we are all privy to like what we're used to being in this industry when we show up. So before we get to this, I want to just go over a little story myself of what I experienced with a client before. I remember we were working on a magazine and it was going to be, I don't know if it was front cover or if it was a spread. I have no idea, but I know that I got to the set first. And when I got there, now as a makeup artist, when you're working with this type of clientele, especially personal makeup artists to high profile talent, which is what I do, you're usually taken into your own personal area so that you can do the client's makeup. If there's hair there, their manager, publicists, you go into this separate room. And you know, when you get there, you know, they should ask for if you want coffee, water, whatever beverage you want, they're at your beck and call. Because you are working on a set, not even because you're working with a high profile client, you are still privy to snacks and food, and depending on how long you guys are there, you know, you're offered that. And so that is something to expect when you're working on these sets, especially with a high profile person. So as I arrived early and I'm getting set up and we're texting, I'm already noticing like there's no setup. There's no one that has come to ask me like what I want to drink or like if I want coffee or anything like that. There was no setup anywhere. And so I don't know if I texted my client to tell her this, but I do remember when she came on set, like she wanted a coffee. And so a lot of times we don't stop to make a stop like someone else will when they're going to work, you know, might grab coffee, might grab a donut or whatever before you go to work, because when we get there, it should already be there. It should be laid out. It should be a spread. And so when she gets here, when she gets to set, the first thing she's like, where the F is the food? Cause I'm sure she said that because she was like hungry. So like, where the F is the food? And I'm like, girl, I don't know. Ain't nobody asked me for no water, no coffee, no nothing. Like, I don't know where it's at. Now, keep in mind, I'm taking this attitude as somebody who's been doing this now for a couple years. So knowing what to expect when we show up to a set. And so I don't remember how it was rectified because it was a few years ago. But what I want to note is that we had expectations, which is not just our personal expectation. This is a standard expectation when you go on set to be able to have like food, coffee, beverages, things like that. And also have an assistant as in a PA or a production assistant who is coming to check on you to see what it is that you want. So this is like industry standard. And so when we go back to Kelly, and she didn't like, she wasn't happy with the accommodations. And I want to add that they did post a picture of the room that she was offered. It was a mess. Okay. It was like when you were young and your mama told you, clean up your room. If you don't clean up your room, I'm going to wake you up in the middle of the night to clean up your room. It was that messy. So I don't want to be there. This is not even clean. I can't even get in a good vibe, a good mode, you know? And that's why these people are around, why you have a good room, why you have assistants, why you have food, so that you can focus on the job that you're there to do. And that is also a big difference from working with high profile celebrity people versus none. Like, they are very focused. They are putting on makeup. They are getting glam. They're getting their hair done for the purposes of being on camera to promote something and or to bring awareness to something. Okay. I've already went over what is a high profile client. Go back and look at the previous videos to take a look. But that is the reason. And they should not be focusing on anything else except for being excellent when they show up on camera. And so the room was terrible. Like I would have walked in like, what is this? What are we doing here? And I'm sure her team did that as well. And so obviously when she took a stand for herself, because she has standards, and I'm sure that didn't already start out like that, but 25 years in, you're going to have some standards where you didn't used to have standards. She said, no, I'm not going to do it. You know, and I think about this, the reason why I got on here today, because I said, well, how many of us would have still did it? Right? Because we're so grateful to be here, right? Because that's one of the reasons that's the thing with Black women. It's like, we're told to be so grateful, and oftentimes we're not in spaces where we know we belong. And so when we get there, we're told to be grateful that we're there and just to accept anything. And so, and then when we stand up for ourselves, we're painted as difficult for having a standard about ourselves. I'm not even going to call it a high standard, just a standard. And so I wanted to just get on here to really talk to Black women and to say, you know, she is a great example of showing that you don't have to just accept anything. And I know that people are like, well, this is Kelly Rowland and she's been doing this for 25 years, but it does not matter. It does not matter. You don't qualify now to get treated with respect. You always get treated with respect, you know, because who is always getting treated with respect and always, you know, giving like so many advances to do whatever and clown and be however they want to be? White women and white men, you know, and so they're never painted as difficult. You know, I don't think it would be news if they walked out if something was below their standard. But for a Black woman, she's always labeled as difficult when she dares to advocate for herself. And so I've seen this firsthand in my experience as well, that what I'm asking for, I'm always asked to go below it, you know, and I just don't understand why. And here's why I know that Kelly did that. Or like the people say now, standing on business, you know, back in the day, we used to say it with your whole chest, is because she knows the value of what she is, of who she is and what she brings to the table. And so when we're talking about like what I do in the framework of how I help beauty professionals secure high profile clients is, you know, you have to really be confident in who you are and what you bring to the table. Not only is she working in an abundance mindset and a lot of times, like for newer artists or for artists that, you know, haven't been doing this for 25 years, that abundance mindset, that building up confidence, is a learned activity across the years. You know, you have to like affirm yourself. You have to meditate. You have to get around really great people to know, you know, like who the F you are, you know, if you want to just say it like that. And so she already knows. 25 years in, she knows what she brings to the table. She knows the impact that she has on people. And so she was not happy with what she was getting. She she was not willing to just accept below her standard, right? And I want to note that she has standards, and a lot of times we can get standards from merely just experience. And so she's been around the industry long enough to know what to expect. So me going back to the experience with my client and us just like wanting to have some coffee and maybe have like a croissant at the beginning of the day for this photo shoot, I know other people would say, wow, you're asking for a lot, or wow, you guys seem pretty ungrateful. And it's like, no, at this point, I have been going so many places with my client and with various different clients. I know this is what we can expect. And if I'm saying something out loud, it's already a problem. It's already a problem because it should already be here. And so when we're talking about having standards, you're really operating in an abundant mindset. You're not thinking scarce, and you for sure are not thinking I'm grateful to be here. You earn your place here, right? She is an actress promoting a movie, and she's earned her right to be able to have a really nice dressing room to promote this film. Period. And so, you know, we've heard words like, oh, this is problematic, or that she's a diva, right? Diva, I rarely hear diva being used on a non-Black woman, right? And I really don't want to focus on J-Lo, who was the other guest, and all that stuff, because we're making up what we think happened, and I really don't want to do that. But what we do know for sure is that J-Lo has been labeled as a diva as well. So, and she's not Black, but she is a person of color. And so I don't know what that situation was. I don't want to touch on it because I'm not into guessing what happened. But you know, I just feel like when there's always this tone of diva or problematic when a Black woman dares to advocate for herself. Okay. I want to also talk about this with The Color Purple, right? We saw this on the press tour when Taraji started to say out loud that there was no food. You know, they got there was no food, and there was no drivers, you know, when they were on the set, which is just despicable. Like, why is there not? And then this is a big movie. Like, no food, it should be a spread. I've been on sets where we walk in that day and there is like a whole chef making omelets. Okay. We've had steak. So don't tell me that like no food and then, you know, nobody says anything about it. And so I'm really happy. And I know that there's going to be an impact from Taraji speaking up for herself, but I'm really happy she did that because she's been doing this too long and she knows. Not only has she worked on primarily Black sets, but the girl has been around white sets. And so she's seen the difference in standards. We must have a standard, y'all. And what was most disappointing about it, and I really hate to say it out loud, but I gotta say it because she said it out loud, Danielle Brooks. You know, in the same breath, Danielle Brooks is the one acting so grateful to be there and so happy, you know, like, and I don't even want to say who said it, because this is not really the person that said it. It's really the message that's more important. But, you know, when you are so grateful to be somewhere and then you express that publicly, you better know they're going to treat you even less than that for the next thing. And so I hated that, in contrast to Taraji speaking out against the inconsistencies on The Color Purple, that Danielle Brooks would come in and oh, I'm just so grateful to be here. Even in the same breath, when they were talking about drivers, Fantasia was like, well, I like to drive my own car to work. Girl, but you're not supposed to. You're supposed to be making sure them lines is right, that the energy is right for what you about to do. You don't need to be trying to worry about dipping and diving in traffic. So I hated that. And I feel like we have a long way to go. And that's why I do this work, because, you know, it really is all about who you are around, who you surround yourself with. And I'm familiar with Kelly Rowland's makeup artist and hair person, you know, follow them, love their work. And so absolutely under no circumstances, they have high standards as well too. These are people that I follow. And so I see it. And so we do not have to just take anything. We don't have to stay in places where we are not appreciated. And so, and then what we saw with when Kelly Rowland walked out, Rita Ora stepped right in. Very easily. She stepped right in and then wrote the post afterwards about being so grateful to be there. And so again, it's like one step forward, 2 steps back. What are you doing? Like, I get it. You know, you took it last minute. You're grateful to be there, but not against this black woman and these standards. And I'm sure Rita Ora went in that terrible room that Kelly was offered and was grateful to do it. And so I don't, and it's not even about what level they're on. Like, cause that doesn't matter. It could be me. And I'm not trying to do that. Okay. But trust and believe, I'm going to be on the TV screen talking about the work that I do and how I impact. And you better not give me that room neither. And so what I want to note is what Kelly Rowland had going for her was her reputation. You know, her reputation, which preceded her. She's always been really nice and great to work with, you know, really respecting everyone around. I mean, that was said loudly once this happened. And we've just seen that. She's literally had no controversy. So I have to believe that she's pretty cool to work with and to be around. And then that I don't think that what Kelly Rowland was asking for was a lot, but it's okay to have a standard, you know, and what I learned further is that the reason why this happened is because in her contract, because at first, you know, my mind is like, well, what was in the contract? And we think that these things don't matter. Okay. And we think about, like, you know, the scope of services and how long will I be and what room will I be in. We think these things don't matter. We don't go as far as like, oh, I'm booked to do this person's makeup or I'm booked to do this person's hair. But there's, you know, so much more that goes into it. And so she originally was booked to have better accommodations, but then when she gets on set, they wanted to lower her accommodation. And so what I love about her walking out, it wasn't just a walk out. She walked out because against what she had signed and what she expected when she showed up on set was not there. And so she was unwilling to take a lower standard when she had already agreed and it was already offered to her to be able to get really great accommodations. So I always talk to you guys about your contract negotiations, that it goes well beyond you being you're doing the hair or the makeup or the styling. All these factors matter, like how long you're going to be there, what room you're going to be in, like what does it look like to go above and beyond, like things like that. So do you have to sit in front of the camera? Will there be an assistant there to do touch-ups? Like all these things matter, and you want to flesh them out before so that there's no discrepancies. And so this really goes along with what does your contract and what does your agreement say? And so if you haven't thought about getting it tight, you want to get it tight now, because this can happen to you. It probably has happened to you. And rather than you going around and accepting less than what you deserve and being grateful that you're there, you need to shift your mindset to more of an abundant mindset where you know that you deserve to be in this spot. See, if you are watching me, you've been doing this thing for 5-10 years plus, and you're ready to take it to the next level. And that is one way in which you do to demonstrate that you're going to take it to the next level, is have a standard about how you're going to show up to work and what it is you need in order to be successful. And then Also, you set the tone for how you want to be treated, right? These people will run you dry. I always say that this industry gives you a lot and you don't get a lot back. And so if you don't take it, they for sure are not going to give it to you. And so in this case, it was offered to her, and then they wanted her to go under her standard and wanted her to be grateful. And with the examples that I listed from Fantasia and from Danielle Brooks, these are examples of people who are growing in their industries as well, but you could tell have not had enough intimacy to know that, like, this is a standard. I think this was Danielle Brooks' first like big motion picture. Probably everything else has been independent or on a different kind of scale. And then you've had Fantasia, who's mostly been in the singing world. And so the acting world, the film world is different, and it's very different from theater. Okay, theater, these girls is patting down their own makeup and all of that. It's a whole different world. So I feel like that's why I don't like that they said anything, because I just feel like them saying that showed a lack of intimacy in this industry. And for Taraji has been doing this. She's been about this life. So I just didn't like the energy of that. And so you set the tone for how you want to be treated. So again, they've already heard Fantasia say she'll drive a car. You know, Danielle Brooks is basically saying, I'm cool without not getting food on set. Watch it happens again. Okay. You better set that tone. And so setting the tone means you writing your own list of how you best want to go to work. All right. This is also, again, working in an abundant mindset. You are not thinking small. You are not thinking scarce. Really, really write down what is it going to take for you to show up and do your best work for your client, to represent them as they go on a screen or on some type of media platform to promote or bring awareness to whatever it is they're working on. Period. And then, if you don't advocate for yourself, then no one will. And I mean, we're black women. So a lot of times, yes, when you speak up, this is what you're going to get, diva, problematic, all of that. But you know what? As a Christian, they talked about Jesus. So let them talk. Again, Kelly Rowland, her reputation precedes her. So let them talk. Because when you know who you are and how you show up, the real ones see it. The ones who are dedicated to making sure that they never see you will continue that on. It doesn't matter what you do. So you might as well advocate for yourself, because if you don't, no one else will. And then don't settle for less when you know you're worth the best. And I know that this is easier said than done. I've been where you are, where someone has offered me a gig for a very low rate, and I've accepted it. And I got home later and I regretted it. And I got home later and I just felt mad about it, and trust and believe when they call me back, because the service was great, they wanted to get me for that same low rate. I had to learn how to start advocating for myself, whether it was in person, whether it was via email, even if it was in my recap email. That's a certain tone that I was setting, that this is how I want to be treated. I just talked about this not too long ago. I'm in mastering contract negotiations. I did a 3-part series on that. And no, I'm not new to this. I'm true to this. And I know what I need to be successful. And you're not going to run me dry to show up for you. Don't settle for less when you're worth the best. And if you don't know how to quantify that or qualify that, I am here to help you, but you don't have to settle anymore. You've lived a whole life. This is not just about your beauty career. This is the culmination of your entire life and how you showed up. There's a certain cadence about you, or a certain way you roll, or a certain way you move. You need to know that, be able to articulate that, and stand on that. I know for me, in which way I do that, from the minute I interact with you, you know that I'm about business. You know that I'm going to really, really articulate my value. I'm going to really get a clear understanding of the scope of services and what is the surroundings so that I can work best. Somebody better ask me what I want to drink or eat, or it better let me know where the area is that I can go grab it. I for sure better have a PA production assistant offer to carry my bags. Come on. Especially if I'm coming with my high profile client. I don't have time. I have been doing this for 17 years and it doesn't get any easier. The only thing that changes about it is you positioning yourself as a premium artist and you having a standard about what it looks like for you to come to work. And so I'm happy for Kelly Rowland because it was probably happening behind the scenes, you know, a bit much. And she's just like, I'm tired. I'm tired. You know, she probably was on a press run and she was, you know, it's tiring. And I certainly don't want to keep arguing with white folks about just general decency, human decency. That room was filthy. We go to the Color Purple. They ain't even had no food. You want them to work 12, 16 hours a day with no food? You stand for something, you'll fall for anything. And so I just wanted to give you that recap. This very much aligns with the work that I do in teaching beauty professionals how to secure high profile clients. And a lot of it starts with moving away from a scarcity mindset to an abundant mindset. Okay, you know what you bring to the table. In this case, Kelly Rowland has a 25-year history of her work as an entertainer. Okay, in this case, I have 17 years to show you what I got, and that is, and a lot of that is culminated in my online portfolio. Don't play with me. Okay, and then also when we talk about let your reputation precede you, I got a whole Google reviews with about 50 reviews. I think I'm at 49 at all 5 stars. I didn't write that. The people wrote that. And I'm not willing to go under that standard for nobody. Okay? And you shouldn't either. This is going to be posted in a few different places. Get at me, look at my bio, look at the information. If you want me to help you secure high profile clients, I am here for you. Okay, stand on business is what they said in 2024. Good luck to you. Keep watching. Please share this with another beauty professional. We got. Okay, we are all we got. You guys have a really great day.